paint the picture.
Graduating high school is a huge step in life that can affect your future. If you don't graduate, it's harder to get into a good college or to get a good job. Jody was only in high school for 5 weeks before she was taken out. This affected everything in her life.
Why were you only in high school for 5 weeks?
We had a lot of family problems. My brother had a problem with fighting, and my sisters were single moms. They both had 2 kids each. And shortly after I started high school, my brother started fighting. So I was in one high school for about 3 weeks, and then we transferred to another high school. And a couple weeks into that, he got in a really big fight and got expelled. So my mom decided that we would do homeschool, which didn't actually happen. And I started taking care of my sister's kids full time so that they could work.
How did not graduating affect your adulthood?
Well, it financially drained you permanently. I married a man who makes really good money, and I'll never make as much money as him. If I don't go back to school, I will make minimum wage for the rest of my life, and as I'm sure most of you know, you can't live on minimum wage, hardly. Even a high school diploma is not enough. You know, really, if you get just your diploma, you're going to be working at a gas station or a Subway. You really need to get your diploma and go to college, because if you don't, you're going to be broke for the rest of your life.
Going back, the majority of dropouts wish they would have graduated.
Do you ever wish you could have gone back and graduated?
Yeah, I went back and got my GED when I was 19. I had the option of going to get my diploma and going to college. The state of California would have paid for it, but my husband at the time, or we weren't married, my boyfriend was unemployed, and I had to choose between getting my diploma and going to college or going to work. So I got my GED and went to work, which was a really big mistake. If I could go back, I would have chosen to go to college and get my diploma.
People who don't finish high school miss so much. Dances, having close friends, and even the biggest, prom night.
How did you feel about taking care of your sister's children and not them taking care of their own?
That's the joy of being a single mom. I didn't blame them for the situation at all, because that's all I've ever known is single parents. They had to work, and someone had to take care of their kids, and I happened to be the only one that could do it. So I didn't hate on them for it, or I didn't have any negative feelings towards them. That's just the way that life worked out. But I highly recommend birth control, and always have. I'm a strong believer in birth control for that reason.
You need to graduate to get a good job, get into a good college. Those childhood dreams of being a doctor, a teacher, or an astronaut are all gone if you don't.
How did it affect your relationship with your parents?
Again, I don't think it really did. My mother did graduate from high school. My father didn't. And my dad at the time already had brain damage, so we didn't have much of a relationship anyway. So I'd say it probably didn't, although I think sometimes my mom feels bad that she didn't make us stay in school. She's got her own guilt issues with it. But as far as my relationship with her, it didn't really affect it.
Jody didn't have a choice to be taken out of school. With her brother fighting and her sisters having kids, Jody was stuck babysitting and raising kids from the age of 14.
When you found out that you were going to be taken out of high school, how did you feel?
Honestly, I'm not sure I felt anything. I was too young to understand the concept of what was going on. I didn't realize that it would affect my life forever. You know, being 14, I was probably a little excited. I didn't like school. I wasn't all that great at school. But after a few months of not being in school, it goes back to that social thing. You start missing having friends to hang out with, and but at the time, I probably didn't feel a whole lot about it. I just knew that my sisters.
How has this affected your relationship with your family?
Like I said, my sister feels bad sometimes. I think that both me and my brother are a little bit looked down on, but nobody else in my family ever graduated either. So my sisters had kids young, my older brother had kids young. So no one graduated, so I mean, it didn't affect a whole lot.
Family has an important impact on life for teens. Being treated older than you are can highly affect your relationship with your family.
How did your family treat you at that time?
I was about 14 when I dropped out, and my dad had gotten hurt when I was 13. He fell through a skylight and got brain damage. So I didn't have any parental supervision. And being that I took care of 4 kids all day long, I was treated like an adult for the most part. I lived with my sisters. I didn't live with my mom. So yeah, I mean, I wasn't treated as a full adult, but I was definitely treated, I had a lot more responsibility than most kids my age.
Do you ever blame anyone specific for not being able to finish high school?
No. My sister has actually apologized to me a couple times as a grown-up, but it wasn't her fault, and it wasn't anybody's fault. The situation just panned out that way. So no, I've never blamed anybody, except for myself for not going back.
27% of the nation won't graduate. With this number increasing, not as many people will get into good colleges. America can do better. Show us the education.